There have been multiple Rockets trade targets revealed, and if Houston does not end up landing Kevin Durant, the Rockets still plan on making a move, whether it's for KD or not. We tell you who the trade target is today, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't really like it. Welcome in here to Rockets Digest. I'm Jace Andrews, and I appreciate you joining us. Before we get going, we are on the road to 2,000 subscribers. I can't believe we're this close. We are less than 80 subscribers away. In fact, less than 75. So if you're new, if you haven't subscribed yet, today is the day, my friend, as you could be our 2,000th subscriber, and I would certainly appreciate it. Okay, let's talk about it, because the Rockets have been obviously talked about for a lot of the big names this offseason because of the assets they have and really the team that they have built thus far. They want to make it better, and they know that even if it's not KD, they plan on making some sort of move, especially to try and improve their shooting department, which is what this mock trade does. And we have it right here, the headline. Under the radar mock trade sees the Rockets land an underrated sharpshooter. Now, I mentioned at the top of this video, I do not like this trade. I don't think it's good for the Rockets, and I don't find this current player to actually be of value to the Houston Rockets. And so, the player that we're talking about is, in fact, Jordan Poole. Now, Jordan Poole is an interesting guy because, well, obviously we know his history with the Golden State Warriors, going there, having the beef with Kevin Durant after the 2022 NBA Finals, in which Poole absolutely took over for the Golden State Warriors. He is a sharpshooter, but at the same time, I don't think he's worth what this package is. However, let's start with the beginning of this report and talking about why this is even a talking point. Now, this is Eddie Bedard of the Fadeaway World saying, quote, "In this under-the-radar trade proposal, the Houston Rockets are exploring an under-the-radar trade that would bring in Jordan Poole," end quote. How many times can he say under the radar? We'll count it. Okay, so yes, is Jordan Poole a guy that is being talked about and labeled as a sharpshooter? Not really. Is he a guy who actually is kind of undervalued? Yeah, for sure. I think his stats speak volume for a lot of different reasons. Last season was a very good year for him. Had a lot of career highs, 20.5 points per game. His field goal percentage, the three-point percentage were relatively average. I think in a lot of ways he was just kind of taking shots and they happened to go in. His corner threes are okay, and he is about to turn 26 years old. So relatively good for the Rockets timeline. However, the big problem with this trade is not necessarily the fact that it's Jordan Poole. It's the fact of what they're giving up, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But again, continuing on with the point and why this is a topic, Eddie Bedard of Fadeaway World once again saying, quote, "His ability to create off-the-bounce space the floor, and even run the point makes him well-suited to ignite Houston's backcourt for the Rockets." Now, this isn't just about adding a scorer, it's a statement, end quote. Yeah, it's a statement of stupidity to go out there and get a guy who has previously not worked at a lot of franchises, at least for a team acquisition standpoint. Now, this is where we get into the actual trade. Hide your eyes right now. Dear God, please don't do this, Houston Rockets. Rockets would receive Jordan Poole, and in exchange, the Washington Wizards would still get Jabari Smith Jr. They would get Reed Sheppard, Jock Landale, and the 2025 number 10 overall pick. Yeah, not a flippin' chance that's happening at all. And I know the Wizards may ask for that, but there's not a chance that they are going to be getting this for multiple different reasons. Kevin Durant, right now, the Rockets are offering Jalen Green, the number 10 overall pick. You're telling me that Jordan Poole's going to cost more? Now, I know the years of control are there, the contracts there, it's different, but are you kidding me? Like, there's no way that Jordan Poole is worth even close to that amount. And I'm very curious if he does end up getting traded this offseason to the Rockets, to whoever, what his actual return is, because there's just no way it's that, especially when you talk about Jabari Smith Jr. and what you'd be giving up with him. A guy who's not even 23 yet. He averaged 12.2 points per game. Yes, he lost his starting role this past season, but he is one of the best sixth man players in the entire NBA. His field goal percentage and his three-point percentage, guess what? They are rivaling of Jordan Poole's. Not that different there. Not that different at all. So in this manner, Jabari Smith Jr. is, first of all, the big reason why I'm not making this trade. The second big reason is that number 10 overall pick holds value for a lot of different reasons. And do I think the Rockets need to use that pick themselves? No. Do I think that pick could be used to make a good trade? 100%. not for Jordan Poole. Not in this situation. It makes no sense. Now, I will sit back. Let's hear the reasoning behind this trade report and why it is, let's say, a thought in the Houston Rockets' head. This again coming from Eddie Bedard of Fadeaway World saying, quote, "The Houston Rockets enter the offseason with momentum from a breakout campaign. They boasted a 110.8 defensive rating, and the Rockets tied for fourth best in the NBA last season. They also ranked sixth in opponents' points per game, allowing only 109.8 points per game to their opponents." That's not the problem. Their defense has been great, and Jordan Poole is not a defender, which is why he just doesn't fit the Ime Udoka style of player for obviously a couple of different reasons. The big one being, well, the fact of the matter that he's not exactly a great teammate. Say what you will about Draymond Green. The fact that he fought one of his own players is a little bit kind of crazy to me in some aspects. But either way, Jordan Poole, it's not that you're really getting him for. That's not the reason you go out and get Jordan Poole. The reason is the offense, and that's where Eddie Bedard goes in his next quote here, saying, quote, "Houston's front office should still aim high, and courting elite talents like Giannis Antetokounmpo or Kevin Durant remains the marquee target. So we all know that is the main target. But contingencies are critical, and adding Jordan Poole offers a plug-and-play plan if superstar pursuits fall short," end quote. Yes, Kevin Durant is the main target right now. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the main number 2 target right now. But I don't think Jordan Poole is number 3. Like, good grief, are we really that low? If we're talking about number 3, number 4, number 5 targets, I'm going to be looking at the Ja Morants, at the Trae Youngs, and I know the history, but the Tyler Heroes. I mean, there's just certain players that spark my interest more than Jordan Poole. I think first of all, this trade package is absolutely outlandish. I don't think there's any way in the world the Washington Wizards are actually expecting that trade to be something that the Houston Rockets would accept. But at the same time, I think in a lot of ways, if the Houston Rockets are unable to land Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo decides to stay with Milwaukee, or if he's traded to the Spurs, then in that case scenario, not that the Rockets have lost their power, because they have assets, they have young players, and they have the means to make these trades still. However, when you look at it from an outsider's perspective, and the Rockets missing out on their top targets, when you go look to maybe trade for a Ja or a Trae or even a lower value player, that opponent or that team that you're trying to trade with is going to look at you a little different. They're going to be like, okay, how are you going about this? Because the Rockets, if they do the right thing, will go about it as, we don't need him, we're just trying to make ourselves better, and we believe that he could do so. But at the same time, some other teams look at you and say, you missed out on KD. You don't believe in your team to go win, and now you're coming to us to talk about this player. And so that's where the Houston Rockets have the power, but they need to be able to hold tight. And for Rafael Stone, he's done a fantastic job. And Ime Udoka has done a fantastic job. The people who are criticizing these two guys for any moves they make are ridiculous, because they have done some stuff that you would only expect from guys who have been veterans in the league. And not to say that they aren't, but they are doing amazing things. And they would not go out to make a move for Jordan Poole, kind of at a last-ditch effort if they miss out on Kevin Durant. Because the reason this trade is even more kind of conspicuous to me, and why it's so intriguing, is it includes that 10th pick, which understandably, that 10th pick needs to be moved before the NBA draft. The Phoenix Suns, they want that pick. That is what they want. The Suns want the Rockets' assets. However, it's just about getting what they want out of the Rockets. But if they trade before that to a different team, that means the Rockets made this trade before the NBA deadline and used that number 10 pick to go out and get Jordan Poole. That's a hard pivot right there. And if the Rockets do not land KD, I would say to hold on tight and sit there for a second to the Rockets. No need to make any crazy moves. No need to go out there and trade for Jordan Poole. Wait a second. Let the vibes feel out. If you need to, use that number 10 pick. But in some ways, maybe you trade back a little bit. You trade back to 16. You get an extra pick next year. You get an extra pick 2 years down the road. That's what I would do if you end up not landing Kevin Durant. Now, I sit here saying that I do believe they'll end up getting Kevin Durant. I do believe that they'll be getting him. And the funny part about this trade, and kind of the last thing we'll put here, Jabari Smith Jr. is a great player, and I think that is a big reason why I'm not accepting this trade. Obviously, getting the number 10 overall pick away is not something I would do either. But Reed Shepherd is supposedly going to be a really increased role this upcoming season. He didn't play much, and he's not even 21 yet, but there is a lot of talk that how well he is able to shoot, the performance that he was able to put on when he was on the court, warrants him to get more minutes this upcoming season, which I think is part of the reason why the Rockets are so okay with making a trade this offseason, especially if it involves one of their starters in some ways, because they know they have Reed Shepherd waiting in the wings, who was a lottery pick from Kentucky. Like, he is going to be a good player in the NBA. At least all sites point to him being a pretty darn good player in the NBA. There was a compilation I saw on Twitter of him hitting shots and was saying this guy didn't average more than 4 minutes a game. That's how good the Rockets roster is, and that's how good the NBA is, to put it quite frankly. But this trade right here would really, in my mind, make the Rockets so much worse, giving up a lot of value for a player that I don't think is giving you that in return in terms of value, sustainability, and quite frankly, vibes. I don't think Jordan Poole is a vibes guy. Like, did he do some great things at Michigan? Was he cool there? Yeah. Did he do some cool things in the 2022 NBA Finals? Yeah. But since that 2022 NBA Finals, not only has he not been great until this past season, he's also had some trouble in the locker room. So for that reason, I'm out on this trade. Let me know, is this something you would even consider? Do you want Jordan Poole maybe for a lesser value? Let me know down in the comment section, but that does it for us today. We will see you on the next video here on Rockets Digest. Peace out, guys.